It's been, I think, a much-needed period of time. It was a hectic schedule through Leagues Cup, 3 games in a week against some tough teams on the back end of that. And the guys look rejuvenated mentally, they look brighter. Some rest, some good work out on the training field, and an opportunity to plan and prepare for really what will be an instrumental phase of the season now, going into the last 7 games.
Thank you, Coach. We are going to transition onto the Zoom. Ben Wright.
Yeah, Gary, I asked Sean a similar question just a minute ago, but kind of looking back at your first, I think it's 37 games of the season so far, what stands out to you that you guys have done well, and what have you maybe been looking to work on over this break heading down the stretch here?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Ben. I think as you look at the season and how it's compartmentalised, if you like, the run of, I think, 10 games or so unbeaten and some very, very good home form, very positive, very bright, very purposeful. That was interjected, of course, with a period of time where we lost players to call-ups, injuries, suspensions. I think we can all remember that period as well, which wasn't necessarily very productive on the field and left a little bit of a sour taste in everyone's mouth. But a huge uptick in not only performances, but obviously confidence in Leagues Cup. And I'm hoping that, we can ride that wave still. Yes, there was a very difficult performance in Atlanta, but I do think some very competitive football outside of that, not always at our best, but very competitive. And we're going to need some of those qualities as we go into what will be probably the toughest away stretch, certainly in terms of travelling and entering into, of course, the Western Conference again.
Ben, any follow-ups?
Yeah, just about those Western Conference games, it's obviously a little bit different because you're not trying to take points away from teams who are in the East and kind of keep them from passing you in the table. But how important is it to we all know that getting a point on the road usually feels like enough in MLS, but do you feel like you need to get more, kind of just with how competitive the East is, to have a chance for a home playoff game?
Yeah, look, we'll be going to both of these venues, trying to turn what we, conceivably would look at and believe to be a competitive game. And to your point, maybe a road point would be very, very useful. And I still believe it is. But we certainly want to try and convert those games into victories, because we do have aspirations of finishing not only in a more positive position than we currently sit. I think that, the real components of moving towards the playoffs are form and having your best players fit and available. They are the keys to entering into the postseason, which, by the way, is not guaranteed at the moment. So, I think as we step into Kansas's backyard, if you like, their victory at the weekend has, I'm sure, breathed an awful lot of life into this group, or the group we're going to be playing, and wanting to be part of that equation themselves, and likewise San Jose. So, the way that the playoffs are set up this year, it keeps an awful lot of teams engaged. So these are going to be really tough games. There's no two ways about it. But I do think we have the bodies and the quality to tip the scales our way.
And then just last one, Walker obviously missed, I think, 3 games before the international break. Is he back, and are you expecting to have a fully healthy squad ready for this week?
He's had a period of time that I think has been very, very helpful to him, and it's always difficult to miss not just Walker, but the players that are going to make the most difference in any given game. He's fit, he's back, and he is definitely available. there are one or two guys in the group, as I'm sure there are in every group, that we're still trying to nurse through certain periods. There isn't anything untoward in the group, but certainly some individuals that I have to keep looking after. But that is a consequence of where we are in the season, unfortunately.
All right, Tim Sullivan.
I kind of almost want to follow up on, especially the end of that answer there, because of the way that your team health is kind of maybe coming back from, especially missing Walker, but some of the other guys who have been banged up. How did this long break serve you? And then especially when you look at not only guys getting healthy, but a guy like Randall who just hasn't had enough minutes because he's coming back from injury, but managed to get some time with Costa Rica. Has that helped him kind of play his way back into 90-minute fitness sort of thing over this break?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I think the football for Randall with his country and being part of that call-up, which he hasn't been for a period of time, as for sure, giving him a shot in the arm. Unfortunately, he was ill for a few days. He's back in the group now, but it has kept him out of any, build-up work, if you like. But he's back up and running today, and will certainly be part of the group for Wednesday. This window of time, and when you get a prolonged period off, looking at what we had to endure, certainly Leagues Cup was something out of the blue, unexpected in terms of probably the amount of games that we played in a short period of time. It was necessary to make sure the guys had enough recovery, but I think we've been able to break down this 2.5 just over weeks leading into the Kansas game and get some real nice work done as well. And I do think there are periods in the season where you need some refreshers. You need to reinforce some of the things as Ben had mentioned. What's given us the most joy? What have we been successful at? What do we need to keep reinforcing? What are our strengths? And it's certainly been an encouraging window to really rubber stamp that and underline that for a lot of the guys.
Yeah, I think it's been really nice for us to have a break at this point in the year, especially coming out of a month we had with Leagues Cup and a few MLS games after that. I think it's been nice for us to have a somewhat normal training schedule again, and I think that the work we've done has been really good, and now it's important to transition to these games. Obviously an important stretch heading into the end of the year, and a big road trip for us, so we're really excited just to get back on the field again. I think the guys are ready to go, and looking forward to the challenge.
Thank you, Sean. We are now going to open the floor for questions for those on the Zoom. Please alert me with the hand raise function that you have a question for either one of the individuals coming through today. We're gonna kick it off with Ben Wright.
Yeah, Sean. You guys are used to road trips after last year in the Western Conference. I'm curious, how much does that play into your preparation for this week with two road games coming up?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, playing two teams from the Western Conference, two teams that we were fortunate enough to go up against last year. We were able to get a good result in Kansas City, but also remember that they got a good result against us at home. So first of all, we know that they're both really good teams, two teams fighting for playoffs. And, especially Kansas City coming off of a big win last game. So they have some momentum. It's always a difficult place to play. They're a strong team with a lot of talent, a lot of attacking talent and, a very specific identity. So I think it's been nice to have some time to prep for them. But obviously it's going to come down to us taking care of business come Wednesday and us continuing to implement the things that we've been working on in training over the last couple weeks and especially the last few days.
Ben, if you have any follow-up questions, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Sean, you just mentioned kind of stuff you've worked on in training. I'm curious, just from your perspective, looking back kind of over the first, 2/3 of the season or whatever it's been, what are some things that stand out to you as things that you guys have done well? And then kind of on the flip side, some things that you're looking to improve down the stretch?
Yeah, I think, for us right now, I think to give a little insight into our mentality, obviously we're we're going into the final stretch of the season, important games, but it's also important to think about the process and the team that we're becoming. And I think, we had a tough stretch before Leagues Cup where we didn't capture as many points as we would have liked, and I think that we can look at things on both sides of the ball, but I think it's also important to recognize the Leagues Cup run. And I think what really stood out for us was the togetherness that we displayed, the ability to limit teams in terms of chances generated for them, keep them off the board, and then find a way to score and be good in the attacking box. I think that served us really well. I think that playing in some big games, we were able to show our best, and I think that we can recapture that form heading into another really pivotal part of the season.
All right, we're going to transition onto Tim Sullivan. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Sean, with this 18-day break, I guess it is, that you guys have between games, what did training look like? What kind of breakdown was it in terms of focusing on yourselves first, and then preparing for a quick succession of 2 back-to-back opponents that you have to game plan for? What did kind of that long period look like?
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's just great to be able to have a somewhat normal training schedule. We had Leagues Cup, and then we had a congested MLS week, so it's not always easy to kind of work on the things that you want to improve on as a team. I think talking about training, we were able to continue to work on things that we're really good at, like defensively and limiting teams to chances and defending well, but also look at things in the final third as well. Try to take advantage of transition moments while also, breaking down a low block. I think those are things that we've been able to, get more looks around our own goal. I think that's been good. But again, I think staying true to our identity, being a hard team to break down, and then finding ways to capitalize on transition moments, on defensive actions. I think that's served us really well. But this road test is going to really test us in all ways, and if we can continue to build on the League Cup performance, I think that's going to serve us well.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask about what I guess kind of clicked during Leagues Cup. Obviously, you guys had not been on a very good run of form in league play, and then you kind of ran through Leagues Cup pretty confidently. What kind of clicked there, and then how do you kind of carry over some of that momentum?
Yeah. I think that, the biggest takeaway for us was our togetherness and our mentality. And those are things that are certainly within our control. And I think that when you saw us in Leagues Cup, there was just a lot of belief that we could take care of business one way or another, whether that was in regular time or in shootouts, and also just using every guy in the roster. I mean, I think we had so many great performances from so many guys, and we had to test our depth. I think that served us well. And that's going to be important during this stretch, because it isn't going to be a normal 1 game a week thing. There is some congestion, so we're going to have to call on every single guy. And I think that, having this normal training week or weeks, every guy is getting sharper and sharper. Every guy's ready, and I think that rotation is going to be really important, not only for the Kansas City game, but also for San Jose and beyond. So, a lot of different ways to look at it, but I think, the mentality was the biggest thing from Leagues Cup, and mentality from every single guy.
And then last one for me. Obviously, we've seen Sam Surridge come in and perform really well in Leagues Cup and show some signs in league play as well. What is he like as a guy in training off the field? What sort of guy has been added to your roster, and what have you seen from him on the field as well? Yeah,
I think, our staff has certainly done their homework. He's a great guy. He's a guy that fits in with the personality of our group really well. And then, on the field, obviously, we were able to see his qualities in MLS games, and especially during Leagues Cup, and his ability around the box, his ability to finish, and, just his overall hunger for goals. I think that's been a great addition. So both in the locker room and on the field, I think that, he's a great addition to the group.
Thank you, team. John Glennon.
Hey, Sean, I know you touched on this a bit already, but I wonder, you guys have had 2 big breaks from league play so far this season. I know they were different because you were playing in the League Cup, obviously, the one time, but what's the biggest challenge when returning to league play after, taking a long break, whether it's 2-3 weeks, whatever it's been?
Yeah, I think for us, Leagues Cup was really important for us. It again highlighted what we do so well, and that's just finding a way to win. And again, that mentality was really important, and it was a great spark for us. And at the same time, I think it's important for us to reset from that tournament and shift our focus back to league play. And I think that's what that break allowed us to do. And so now we understand the importance of this final stretch. I think we're all excited for it. And, in a way we can take a lot of what we were able to, that momentum that we were able to gather from Leagues Cup play and now shift it over to MLS Cup and I think MLS League play. And so this is a really important time for us, but I think the break was great. The training has been great, and I think we're ready for this.